Here we go. I'm making a first video second because I realized that you couldn't see anything but the fish tanks in the other video, so you can watch that one after this one. This is my wet sink. It's one of the best things I've bought for my fish room. Makes it really easy to clean tanks and change water, and it's got two separate basins. You can do two different things at once. These are my filter housings. First is a 2 micron filter, then there's 2 carbon block filters, and this is the DI cartridge. And over here is where the RO is going to go. The tanks for the RO are up here. They will be set up shortly. I did get the stuff for the RO in today, and this is my air line that distributes the air around the room, and it goes across to the room, around, and here's my air pump mounted on the end of one of the tanks. There's a space there. It sends the air up through these tubes to distribute the air down there around the room, over here around the room, and at each set of tanks is a manifold that goes in, to a valve, and there's a valve for each tank. And there's 2 manifolds hooked up to the top of both racks of tanks. Now the racks are made of 2x4s, and they're pretty strong. They got 3-inch screws in them, which is plenty strong enough to handle the weight of the tanks. This holds 18 1-gallon tanks. And this rack was originally made for vertical 10-gallon tanks, but I modified it to take the 5.5-gallon tanks, and it has a manifold there too. This rack over here is one that I made in between the other two to fit in this spot, and it is made of 2x4s, painted with black paint. Has a timer to turn on and off the water, and of course this is the garage door across the front here, and this is the rack that I have across the front of the garage. Now all these racks, other than the 2x4s I just showed you, are made of a metal grommet racking that is got metal studs and a brace that goes across. And I used a wire rack for the shelf because it fit perfectly in there, and the wire rack shelf couldn't hold a weight on the rack itself. It holds the weight with the metal tubing involved, but it doesn't hold the weight on the rack. The rack eventually, the wheels on the bottom of it eventually broke and the rack started falling apart. Here's some more electrical. I used to have a lot more plugs in because I had HOB filters on each one of the tanks, and I removed 70 or 80 of them recently. I do still have 2 HOB filters plus a sponge filter, 2 sponge filters in each 55-gallon tank. The HOB filters are rated at 60 gallons, so there's actually 120 gallons filtering of water all the time in all my 55s. And there's another one there, and another one there. More sponge. On the 20-gallon tanks, most of them I have an HOB filter on there also, which is a 60-gallon Tetra. I don't use the bio bags that Tetra has. I use the Marineland filters. They fit in and they work a lot better, and they're cleanable and they're reusable. And they fit right in the Tetra filter, and you don't have to deal with those bio bags still on them. They don't last very long. You can't wash them. One of the things I did make is I made a lot of my own lights. They are fluorescent. I did try to change to LEDs, but it just didn't work out for me. And the commercial LEDs that I bought didn't last more than a year. So most of my lights are back to fluorescent, as you can see on the tanks. Here's my power box, and you can see I've added several ground fault interrupter circuits to protect from shocks. I do have video cameras hooked up in here too, so I can check it from my office when I'm sitting there at the computer. And some electrical things. This is on the first row. There's another. I use the Brinks outdoor timers, or at least I like them. They're the better timer for my application. And again, lights hanging from the ceiling. This 55 has them sitting on the top. Yet there's still two HOB filters, 60 gallons, so it's 120 gallons. I don't know if you can see it. For some reason, I just mentioned about planaria. There's some planaria, those white spots on the front of the screen. All of a sudden, this tank is loaded with them again, and I don't know why. I got the other one cleaned up. This isn't as bad as the other one, but I put a Garami, and then I had the pop flow caps in there, and within about a week, all the planaria were gone. These are my baskets that I use for my fry to patch them. And I let them sit in the clean water with a heater. The sponge filter is right underneath it, so it's getting as much oxygen as I can pump in there. And they seem to do well for hatching the Cory eggs. This is the new rack that I just set up. There's a video on it with the way I made the shelves. I've got the shelves. There's an empty spot here. I got to put a tank in there. And this is my storage area over here. Keep a lot of buckets in it. Normally there's a tank in there. I don't have it in there now because I still haven't finished the ceramic tile on the wall underneath. I have to do it because it gets too wet down there, and there's too much mildew growing. This is my tank that I use. The water comes into the filters, goes up here, and it goes into the back of the tank through the pulp valve. The pulp valve shuts it off when it's full. Inside this tank, there's a big heater, a big regular tank heater for like a 30-gallon tank, and then the water, you can see the water level gauge I made. It comes out, goes through this line. This is a bleed-off valve here. Goes through this line, and this is a 1-micron filter that I put up to catch any residue that comes out of the tank. Now, in this here is my UV set up with a pump to recirculate the water constantly through that tank. It comes out of the bottom, goes through the pump into the UV, and back into the top of the tank. In the tank, there's a buffer solution to help buffer the water. The water comes down through here, goes out and goes into a valve, which I use here, a valve to fill each tank. So that's how I refill the tanks after I siphon them out. Again, you can see the tubing drops for the air. You can see the 4-foot fluorescent fixtures, and this rack has some spaces in between them. I'm going to try to correct that one of these days, but for the time being, it fits the tanks horizontally. I had them all in here, same amount of tanks in there. I had them in vertically, but I didn't like the vertical tanks because you can't see what's in the back of them, and it just didn't work for me. So the water comes along here, there's another drop right here with another valve so you can reach the faraway tanks. There's a valve, and there's a coil of tubing there that will reach over to the other side of the room. The valve also comes along here, goes down to this side of the room with another drop and another valve to fill up the tanks over here. I have a bleed-off valve on the end of it, so if I need to flush it to clean it, I can do that. Some more electrical. This is the door to my laundry room. There's an apron that I use when I get too wet. This is my refrigerator where I keep all my food supplies. Some supplies down there. More electrical going up. This is the bug zapper I got. I had to put it in here because it is a garage and it's not sealed up like your house, and I do have some little flies that breed in the tops of the tank, although the fish don't mind because they eat them. They're not anything that will hurt the fish, but they are like little moths of some type, and they come out at night, so I leave that on at night and it kills a lot of them. I need to get some more of them. Again, the ends of each row, I tried to make the same. It looks like a spaghetti mess, but it works. There's a timer, a couple of lights, a couple of lights, picture strips to plug the heaters in. A lot of the tanks have heaters, some of them don't. Like, I don't have any heaters on the 2.5 gallon, although I got the surge protectors there for them. And I don't have all the lights in yet. The bottom row of lights I don't have on this one. I don't have the 2 lights on these because I still have some fluorescent fixtures. This bottom down here has no lights. It's just getting ambient lights in the rest of the room. This is the step ladder I use. Place where I hang up my mop. My old computer signs I'm hung on the door, and then I'm working on setting up a tool rack here. And go out the door. You can see the fish room door. You go around to, this is the garage where the fish room is kept, and here is my blower working, and that sucks all the air out. That runs 24 hours. It is adjustable, so certain times of the year I can keep it on low and other times on high. And going back into the, let's go back in, I'll show you it's probably 80-90 outside, and should have showed you this before, but here's my temperature and humidity. Inside here it's 81. It's at least 90 out, and the humidity is 60, which is a good amount. Here's the blower blowing out. Goes out all the time. I guess that's it. My ugly floor. I like to keep it clean, but it's very difficult. I wax it all the time. The tile came from my old store. I had extra. I only did half the garage. I painted the other half of the floor with